Yandere Dev, the developer of Yandere Simulator. Last year, an extremely serious allegation was made about me that I would like to address. The accusation is that I attempted to groom an underage fan of my game. I will take accountability and admit that I did discuss inappropriate topics with a fan. However, she let me know right off the bat that she was 16, but I didn't see any problem with that.
How do you not see a problem with that? Hello, ladies and gents, and Happy New Year to all. It truly is a great New Year. Because, of course, on YouTube, all we really care about are apology videos. And the start of this year has it's kicked off. It's gone. It's gone buck wild. So, the first apology video of the year is none other than Yandere Dev. And if you don't know who Yandere Dev is, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, you're missing out on pure comedy gold, but at the same time, Jesus Christ, you want no part of this. So, okay. So I'm going to give a quick recap on who Yandere Dev is, because this shit gets wild. Yandere Dev is not really a developer, despite that being in his name. Yandere Dev is one of these people who had a brilliant idea for a game that lots of people liked, and he assumed that that was enough to make said game. The idea, right? If you've got the idea, you can make the game. Now, the problem here is that's not quite the case. You actually need to know how to make a game. And he started a Patreon that garnered a stupid amount of monthly income over the course of many, many years. And the game just never came out. When it eventually came out as a demo, it was a laggy mess that was just unplayable on basically anything but NASA hardware. So, you know, PewDiePie and that managed to play it, but even still, people dug through the files and found a model of a toothbrush that had 100,000 polygons in it. Like, that was more detail than the entire scene and room in the game. That's insane. But anyway, things got wilder. He started attacking his fans and supporters because they were asking, rightfully, where's the game? Why can't we play it yet? And he just blamed them for everything. Then, moving on, people who are actual programmers dug into the code for the game, and this is where the comedy really started rolling. The entire main script for the game was something like 60,000 lines of code for one script that was running every single frame of the game. And if I remember rightly, it was purely comprised of if-else statements. Now, if you're not a programmer, that might not mean much, but what this basically means is, try this first thing. If you can't, try the second thing. If not, try the third thing and the fourth thing. But each thing in this list was monumental amounts of script. So the game was trying to perform every possible action that the game could perform, and it's a mess, right? I'm pretty sure that's enough for you to realise that this isn't quite correct. But then things get worse. He's an unusual guy. I think we can all kind of accept that. And on top of this, he made some very questionable choices. For example, there was a site to do with... Okay, how do I say this without getting demonetized? A site that focused around sex dolls. I guess I'm just going to have to mute it because I don't really know another way of saying this. But he had bought one of said sex dolls that was very expensive, like thousands of pounds. And obviously, he doesn't have a job. He'd admitted this. His job is, like, developing this game. So people had pointed out that based off how much that doll cost, he's spending the money that is here to make this Yandere game, which, by the way, is creepy in itself. It's about teenage girls showing each other panty shots and trading in pictures of their underwear for points and stuff, but also then murdering people in schools. I don't know how to put this, but if you make that sort of game and you're, like, obsessed with it, as Yandere Dev was, or is, I don't know at this point whether he still cares, you've got to be the sort of person that sits in... Let me find the kind of chair. Okay, if that's the sort of thing you're obsessed with, and it's a bit, you know, it's a bit weird. If that's the sort of thing you're obsessed with, this chair in hotel rooms, it was made for you, right? The cook chair is for you. But anyway, But that aside, 18 hours ago, this video was posted, and you might be thinking, what's he got to apologise for? What's the addressing the allegations for? And no, fortunately, he does not crack out a ukulele and start, just riffing.
My life, which was really weird of me. I haven't done that for years, you see, because I changed my behavior and I took accountability.
But there were allegations, and there weren't really allegations. There was proof of this, which is what makes this so weird. That Yandere Dev was talking to an underage girl in a adult nature, and the receipts were there. This girl kept receipts and showed it to another YouTuber. Let's just see how this starts out, shall we?
Hello, I'm Yandere Dev, the developer of Yandere Simulator. Last year, an extremely serious allegation was made about me that I would like to address. The accusation is that I attempted to groom an underage fan of my game. I will take accountability and admit that I did discuss inappropriate topics with a fan. However, the accusation that I deliberately attempted to groom this fan.
Look, dude, it's not whether you deliberately attempted to groom this girl or not, when you've just admitted that you did the thing that everyone called you out for doing. Oh my God. 24 seconds in, and we've already got full admission that he did the thing he was accused of, but you can't then follow it up with a but.
Is false. In this video, I would like to apologize for what I feel I should apologize for, but I would also like to give you the full story so that you know what is true and what isn't true. Let's start at the beginning. Last year, a fan of my game contacted me and wanted to chat. Usually, when a fan tries to talk with me, I just tell them that I'm too busy. But this person seemed really nice and friendly and funny, so I decided, you know what, sure, let's talk. She let me know right off the bat that she was 16, but I didn't see any problem with that.
How do you not see a problem with that? Oh my God, man. There's big problems with that. You're known for being a bit weird, a bit dodgy, my dude. If a 16-year-old messages you, you stop. You don't reply. You leave it. Like, some people, you just know that even at the age of, 20, their parents had to stop them running around with scissors in their hands. He's one of them.
I was 16, I had online friends that were in their 20s and 30s, so it just didn't feel weird to me.
That explains a lot.
In the beginning, our conversations were normal, but she had a kind of adult sense of humor, and every now and then she would bring up a topic or ask a question that wasn't really appropriate. When this would happen, I wasn't entirely comfortable with it, but...
Okay, here's what you do in that situation, right? If somebody that is underage, or potentially underage, or you don't know their age, brings up a topic like that, you don't reply. You leave them on red. You don't talk to them anymore. I think that's pretty obvious, right? Like, to clarify, YouTubers get this all the time. Somebody will DM them on Discord or on Twitter or somewhere, and it will start off as a general conversation, especially if it's something to do with, hey, I've got a tip off about a thing, this game did this person that, whatever. And then after that, it carries on as a normal conversation. And then if, occasionally you'll get someone who tries to be a bit flirty or get a bit personal, you cut it off. If that happens to me, it's cut off immediately. You don't get a response from me anymore. Whether you are over 18 or not, you get cut off. It's not something I want at all. Regardless of age, I don't want. It's not, I've got no interest in that. I don't like these kind of parasocial relationships. It's just not for me. Yandere Dev should have just head for the hills. When you are under as much scrutiny as this guy is, you don't take chances at all. It doesn't matter how lonely of a man you are, right? How sexually inept you are. You don't do it. You run. You vanish. Okay? Life lesson.
I rationalized to myself that it was no big deal and just kept talking with her. Eventually, I must have said something that sounded like a red flag to her, because at some point, she started to record our conversations just in case I turned...
Everything this dude says is a red flag. Like, oh god, people dug up posts from his past. And I know that's not the right thing to do, and it's kind of cancel culture-ish for the sake of it. But this dude posted some real weird stuff online. Let me find the list, because it was golden. Okay, like, to clarify, this guy has said so many weird things online and had to clear up so many things that on the Yandere Dev Patreon or website, I can't remember what, no, it was the Tumblr, because of course it was the Tumblr. He's currently on Clearing Up Misunderstandings Part 7. 7. This is like when a kid touches the radiator or something hot. And you know how normally they learn very quickly, oh, I shouldn't touch that because that really hurt. That left me with a big boo-boo. Yandere just keeps licking the radiator afterwards and, you know, slapping his cock on the stove. And it is beyond me how this guy has not ended up in jail from a lot of the creepy shit he said and a lot of the just unhinged stuff that has happened. Like, to point this out, he spent so long making the game that somebody else came along and in the span of 2 months, I think, made the game that he had promised, but for free. Well, his patrons started dropping off rapidly, and then he says, he basically starts DMing the other creator death threats and stuff, and like really weird messages, and then pretends that he didn't. He didn't do that. That ain't me, Chief. So I don't know how he's not in jail or like in some psych ward, to be quite honest, but let's continue.
Out to be some kind of predator. She showed our conversations to a YouTuber, and the YouTuber decided, yep, this guy seems like a groomer. We need to expose him. From what I've been hearing, it kind of sounds like the YouTuber started coaching the girl on how to manipulate me into saying things that would make me look bad, which wasn't what the girl wanted. But you don't have to just take my word for it. The girl has written a statement about the entire situation, giving her side of the story. I've put a link to it in the description below.
Ali coached me into being exactly what he wanted, based on years of her online stalking, along with the community dedicated to bringing him down. She used the same technique that the FBI used during sting operations: curate a specific environment, build trust, lure in, take down. Ali disrespected my wishes when I didn't want the video posted because it was an elaborate scheme to bring views back to her dead channel. Every person has faults, but dedicating multiple videos to someone's faults shows her true colours. She is manipulative, hateful, and absolutely not a trustworthy source of news. Many of the audio clips were cut and put together to make it. Okay, so that's bad. That is bad. But here's the thing. The FBI used these techniques to out you for what you are, right? To catch you in the act of what they think you're doing. If you fell to this bait, you still fell to the bait of a 16-year-old girl. Right? Like, you said those things to that 16-year-old girl. It doesn't matter whether you were tricked by an older person. It's like these predator stings that you see all over Facebook and whatnot. They keep saying, oh, I was tricked into it. It wasn't actually a 16-year-old. It was a 40-year-old man. And it's like, yes, but your intentions were to meet up with a 16-year-old girl. Right? It's one of those things. What if it was a 16-year-old girl like you thought it was? I don't approve of the chopping clips up and putting them together in different ways to make it sound like it's worse than it was, but I don't know, man. You've put yourself in this situation and you've fallen for the bait, I guess.
I won't tell you what to think about it. You're welcome to read it for yourself and draw your own conclusions. So, with the YouTuber apparently instructing the girl on how to steer our conversations in an inappropriate direction, our discussions got pretty weird. I wasn't comfortable with it, and I tried to express that, but like an idiot, I just went along with it anyway. Because I had gotten into the habit of being really candid around this girl and just casually responding to whatever she said, it was very easy for her to get recordings of me answering questions I shouldn't have answered and discussing topics I should not have discussed. And the YouTuber then used those recordings to make a 40-minute-long video accusing me of being a groomer.
Okay, but I'm going to be honest, this is so far an awful apology video, or like a addressing the allegations video. Because All that's happening is admitting that you said these things to a 16-year-old girl and then following it up with but. No but that can follow that is going to do you any justice, my dude. You are digging a hole minute by minute in this video, and we're only 3 minutes into the video.
Out of respect for all of the people in the world who have actually been groomed, we should use the word grooming correctly. Grooming is when an adult tries to establish a relationship with a child with the intention of exploiting or abusing the child. That doesn't describe what I did. I didn't develop a friendship with the girl for that reason. That wasn't my intention. I did not attempt to establish a romantic or sexual relationship with the girl.
It's more of the same, because he's saying, I didn't intentionally. I didn't attempt to. I wasn't trying to. The issue with this is that this is such a tough one, because I get what he's trying to say. He's just not saying it very well at all. What he's saying is, I guess what he's trying to say is, I never went into this with the intention of, but that doesn't really matter, because that's kind of, it's irrelevant when you look at the situation right now, right? Because that is what's happening. Like, you are discussing adult topics with a 16-year-old girl. Doesn't matter whether she brought them up or you brought them up. You went ahead and discussed it anyway. It doesn't matter how we arrived here, right? The journey doesn't even matter at this point when the destination is wrong. It just doesn't matter how you got here. Like, context matters in so many things, and it does here to an extent. The only reason context matters here is to just figure out how the hell it ended up here. Not so much why, right?
After having my behavior explained to me as commonly associated with romance, I can understand how it was interpreted that way. I feel like it's worth mentioning that a lot of the remarks I made only sound bad when they're out of context. For example, there was one time when the girl jokingly said, "You should make an OnlyFans." And I said,
"Oh, dude! No, what you say when a 16-year-old says to you, you should make an OnlyFans, your answer should be, drop down, block. End of.
No, that's dumb. No one would ever want to see that. And she said something like, "Come on, it's so easy to make money on OnlyFans." And when I heard that, I thought, whoa, that's a little concerning. Don't tell me that social media is brainwashing this generation to think that they should just go directly into porn the second they turn 18 because it's the best way to get rich quick. That's a little concerning. I wanted to know if she was joking or if she was being serious.
Of course, he didn't block her. He didn't leave it at that, did he? No. He had to double down. Let's hear where this went.
So I asked her, "Are you planning to start an OnlyFans?"
Oh!
And of course, the YouTuber used the recording of me saying,
No!
"Are you planning to start an OnlyFans?"
No, 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 no! This is... It doesn't matter what the intent behind the question was. Or how that was phrased. That you just don't ask that. This dude is digging a hole minute by minute.
To frame me as someone who initiates horrifically inappropriate discussions with children. Which is...
You do! You have! That could have been ended by not responding. You did initiate the following.
Just completely dishonest. There's a part of me that wants to go point by point down the list of every single questionable or suspicious thing I said.
That would be a Chris Chan documentary if he did that. Like, no joke. I would say, second to Chris Chan, this guy is one of the most documented people on the internet. And if this is your first time hearing about Yandere Dev, just go look into it, because it is insane.
And provide context for absolutely everything, but that's not really the main issue here. For one thing, a lot of the stuff I said is just weird no matter what the context is. I'll just admit it.
Good. At least he knows that. Like, he can't defend against that because, like he says, it's just point blank weird.
But more importantly, I never should have let conversations like that happen in the first place.
Yeah, that's it. Point blank, should not have let it happen.
A normal, mentally healthy adult would have just blocked the girl immediately after the very first time she said something inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
No, you
having
didn't.
to face that fact was a wake-up call that made me realize I had deteriorated mentally. So, after this whole controversy happened, I decided to take some time to just reflect and try to figure out how I had turned into the type of person who would let something like this happen. After talking it over with a lot of different people, I think I've developed an understanding of exactly how things got to this point, and I think I have the vocabulary to explain it now, too. Over the past 10 years, I neglected absolutely every aspect of my well-being in favor of working on my video game project. I almost never left my house for any reason. I had no social life whatsoever, and I had no one that I could call a true friend.
This is true. I will give him this. And not the bit about working on his game. Okay, here's the thing. He may have spent all his time working on the game. It turned out shit because he wasn't a developer. And it didn't move very fast because he was a shit developer. But this guy was terminally online. Like, he spent 90% of the time that I think he would call his working time addressing problems that were caused by him just constantly addressing problems and being terminally online. This guy is socially inept, like, completely. Just looking back at his earliest posts on the internet, this guy was craving online acceptance, posting things like mugshots saying, "I've been told I look creepy. Do I look creepy?" And of course, the whole of 4chan would troll him. And then he wouldn't just think, right, I need to stay away from the internet because it's clearly a problem for me. What he would do instead is double down and try and remedy the problem he'd caused by making more problem. This guy has just been an online whirlwind. It's been, going from disaster to disaster his entire life online. Which is why, again, he's one of the most documented online people. It's sad in a way, but this guy has really, really wasted, like, his mid-20s. Well, he's wasted his 20s, and now I imagine he's starting his 30s, by just being terminally online, and kind of just being one of the internet lolcows, right? And for those who don't know, lolcows are basically just people who are these online expendable laughters, pretty much. He became one of them and has wasted over 10 years doing that. So he is right.
A lot of people warned me that they could see my mental health deteriorating and that I was exhibiting a lot of self-destructive behavior, and I just ignored all of them. I was lonely and depressed and miserable and getting worse every year and doing nothing to make any of it better and ignoring all of the warning signs that were being given to me.
I can believe that. I can totally believe that based off watching him for the past God knows how many years. Like, I knew that it was only going to be a matter of time until this guy snapped. Like, having every bit of laughter being at your expense, even though it's you're to blame for it, it's got to take a mental toll. It has to. And clearly it has.
When you neglect your psychological and social needs that badly for that long, you eventually become so desperate for social interaction and positive affirmation that you become willing to have inappropriate interactions you shouldn't be having, as long as it's fulfilling the social needs that have gone completely.
That was not the best thing you could say, because once again, this is just justifying that it's okay to... he's not trying to say it's okay, but he's saying that here's the reason I did it. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't matter, right? The reason you did it isn't being brought into question. It's just the fact you did it.
Unmet for years. Acknowledging all of this was step one. Step two was determining what I would have to change about my life in order to repair the damage that I had done to my psyche over the past 10 years. So, I decided to just step back from game development for 3 months to just work on myself and try to develop a more healthy lifestyle. I started seeing a therapist. I started leaving my house and going outside and interacting with other human beings. I experimented with hobbies that don't involve the use of a computer screen. I found a much better work-life balance.
This is the one thing I will praise him for, right? A lot of people need to do this, and it's actually quite hard for those sort of people to realize that they need to do this, let alone go and actually do this. Like, I used to be terminally online as well. I used to spend all my time on the internet, and I never left the house. I would sit and play RuneScape for 17 hours a day, and that is no joke in school. I genuinely did. I'm ashamed to admit this, but there were days where I pulled 48-hour non-stop binges, where I would go to school, come home from school, play RuneScape right the way through the night until I leave for school the next day, come back from school, and then do the same again. I genuinely pulled many 48-hour just gaming binges. And I wouldn't leave the house. Yeah, it's bad. And the thing is, you don't realize how bad that is for you at the time. Until, you know, it normally takes something profound to hit you and for you to realize, wow, okay, I need to remedy this. And, you know, realizing it's one thing, but actually doing it is another thing. So, fair play to him for doing that. You need to do a lot more than 3 months, though. It needs to be a permanent change.
And most importantly of all, I made friends. I developed a social life. I made meaningful connections with people my age. That made a bigger difference than anything else. I no longer feel so desperate for social interaction that I'd be willing to have inappropriate conversations just to fill some gap in my life. I feel like I've removed the weaknesses and vulnerabilities that enabled this entire situation to happen in the first place. It's worth mentioning that sometime after this entire controversy started, 2 images started to circulate.
Oh, God.
These images are fake Discord screenshots depicting interactions between me and children that have never...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. I really... Oh, Christ. I really hope that these are fake. Because this is kind of like put you behind bars material. Now, I don't think he's that stupid. Okay? And the fact he's bringing it up and, you know, letting people know that this is fake, it probably is fake. I know there are a lot of people that are out to get him and make things worse than they already are, which by doing that kind of invalidates the things he actually has done, which is frustrating because people want to hold him accountable and they can't if there's just a flurry of misinformation. So yes, I really hope these are fake.
actually happened. These images were either created in Photoshop or made by an impersonator using my username and avatar. This isn't the way that people speak to other people. This is the way that you write dialogue when you're trying to make a comical image for the internet to laugh at. These are not real. Another piece of information I would like to address would be the claim that I was grooming this girl ever since she was 9 years old. That's not true. Apparently, she sent me an email 7 years ago. I'm assuming it was just typical fan mail. I always respond to every fan who contacts me, so I must have replied and said something like, "Hey, thanks for your kind words, glad you liked the game." But just the fact that she had contacted me when she was 9, and then later she contacted me again last year, somehow magically transformed into a narrative that I had been grooming her for 7 years straight. No, that's not what happened. That's just something that people made up. But even though I didn't harm a child, even though I didn't traumatize or victimize anyone, I do feel that I've made mistakes that I need to apologize for.
Too damn right.
I allowed myself to deteriorate into a person who was making horrible decisions on a regular basis that not only harmed me, but also the people around me. By making some incredibly stupid and careless remarks during conversations I should not have been having, I created a huge, completely unnecessary scandal and made myself into a figure who is so controversial that people are afraid to be associated with me or have any kind of connection to my game. As a result, people who enjoyed contributing to the project had to quit. YouTubers who enjoyed playing the
Yeah, this is true. A lot of people that were working on his game have that were actually talented, by the way, started leaving one by one, leaving the project and ditching it because of the negative connotations tied to this guy.
The game had to stop. Companies had to sever all ties with me. And a lot of fans were deeply hurt and upset. I'm sorry for having stupid, inappropriate conversations I never should have had. I'm sorry for neglecting myself until I created problems for everyone around me. I'm sorry to all of the people who I ignored when they warned me countless times that my behavior was becoming more and more self-destructive. And I'm also sorry for one other thing. After this whole controversy started, people started targeting anyone associated with me or my project for harassment. People even targeted the girl that I spoke to, spreading misinformation about her and spamming her with horrible images. It's one thing to screw up your own life, but it's another thing entirely to screw up so badly that you bring hate and abuse and harassment into the lives of others just for being associated with you. I am deeply sorry for that. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me.
I mean, here we go. Start of the year, and we've already got an absolute banger of an apology video. Not a banger in the way that I think most people would expect, but Jesus Christ, we're off to a strong start. I mean, I'm going to be honest. This has to be a 3 out of 10 apology video. So there's still room to climb the rest of the year. You know, we've not blown our load early. We've not prematurely given the best apology video. This dude needs some help. I mean, he clearly knows that. But yeah, you guys didn't get me a Christmas present. But if you want to, please go and subscribe to my new channel, my second channel, which is covering the business that me and some friends are starting, as well as just my everyday hobbies and life. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to see more tech things, 3D printing, all that good stuff, then head over there and drop a sub. It will be greatly appreciated. And as always, a massive thank you to my patrons. You guys are absolute legends. And until next time, take care.